What's up, everybody? Hey, Tom Laird here, host of the Advice from a Call Center Geek podcast and founder of Expivia. For exceptional contact center outsourcing, trust Expivia. We're fully AI-driven, as all of you know, and can handle voice, email, chat, and all of your digital channels. Our 600-seat USA contact center is expert in healthcare, financial services, insurance, tech support, retail, and more. Experts on the NICE CX1 platform, we ensure seamless customer experiences. DM me or visit expiviausa.com for more.
This is Advice from a Call Center Geek, a weekly podcast with a focus on all things call center. We'll cover it all from call center operations, hiring, culture, technology, and education. We're here to give you actionable items to improve the quality of yours and your customers' experience. This is an evolving industry with creative minds and ambitious people like this guy. Not only is his passion call center operations, but he's our host. He's the CEO of Expivia Interaction Marketing Group and the Call Center Geek himself, Tom Laird.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome back to another episode of Advice from a Call Center Geek, the call center and contact center podcast, where we try to give you some actionable items to take back in your contact center, improve the center, improve the agent experience, and hopefully the whole point of really what we're doing here is to improve the customer experience as well. My name is Tom Laird. I am the CEO of Expivia Interaction Marketing. We are a 500 plus seat call center outsourcer located here in Northwestern Pennsylvania. I'm kind of surprised that I have not done a podcast on this topic. And thanks to the many of you who kind of reached out to me over the weekend through the texting community. By the way, I don't want to say cheap plug, but if you'd like to join our texting community to really have access to me for any question that you may have, text call center to 814-247-0366, and then I'll take you through the process to kind of get signed up for that. But anyway, I had a couple people through the community. I've had a couple emails. People are asking about Black Friday and, what were some of the things that we do for Black Friday? Are there tips for Black Friday? And to be honest, I probably should have done this podcast last week. I'm shocked I've never done one, that really focuses on Black Friday / Cyber Monday. So I wanted to kind of give you some tips that I have seen over the years. For most of us, or for a lot of us listening, this is like the call center Superbowl, right? It's weeks of preparation for a lot of you, getting ready for almost a 72-hour to 100-hour blitz, right? If you go through really the end of Thanksgiving Day to really the end of kind of Cyber Monday, getting into that Tuesday. So it's an important, couple days for a lot of you. With all the preparation that goes into it, we want to make sure that things go off as smoothly as can possibly happen. So again, here's a couple of my tips. I'm going to give you 7 or 8 of them that I have seen throughout the years to make our, Black Fridays go well, and some of the things that we have in place to do that. So number 1, there should be no IT updates for the rest of the week. Right? You don't need to be trying and testing out things coming into Tuesday, Wednesday. Most people are off or you have a limited workforce on a Thursday for Thanksgiving. You don't want to have issues that arise from an IT standpoint from brand new rollouts that happen this week. Right? There's always going to be bugs and some type of update or some type of new technology that gets kind of put on the scene. I know a lot of you are panicked right now and say, hey, we really got to get this thing out. If you do, right, and you want to do some type of update or some type of IT rollout this week, then you better have all hands on deck for the next couple days to do that, because I've seen the disasters in my call center when we've tried to do things later. It's cool when I was talking to the In Contact group with the customer council. I mean, I believe In Contact does a 2 or 1 or 2 months of kind of total shutdown before Black Friday. I could be wrong on that, but it was a significant period of time, more than weeks, that they basically say, hey, we cannot do any updates whatsoever to make sure that everything is, the platform is as stable as we possibly can get it for when our customers really need it. So I think it's kind of the same mentality. It's probably not as long for a lot of you, but if you're trying to do something different or weird to prepare for Black Friday, it should be done weeks in advance and should be tested and ready to go. It shouldn't be done this week. This is the week to operate, not the week to innovate. All right. Number 2 is I think you should always be overstaffed for Black Friday. And basically that just means take your shrinkage percentage and kind of play with it a little bit. So again, if you have 10% shrinkage, I'd make it 15. If you're 15, maybe you might want to make it 20 or 22%. You don't want to play with your staffing, or I shouldn't say that. You want to make sure that if you're going to make a mistake on your staffing, it's on the mistake of being overstaffed, at least for these couple days, right? The percentage and the amount of customers that you're going to be able to talk to and the percentage of the amount of customers that are going to call you is going to be significantly higher. You want to make that experience as awesome as you possibly can. So it's really not a time to penny pinch for that 72-hour period. And after that, you want to go back and you want to raise those SLAs and do those types of things. I think that's fine, right? And you go back to kind of your normal operating procedures. But I think you should really look at your SLAs. Try to get them as low as you possibly can. Try to staff up. It's kind of an all hands on deck, right? When it comes to Black Friday, Cyber Monday. And I think you need to have that mentality for your customers, not only, but also for your reps, right? Because you don't want your occupancy to be at 90% and they're just getting bombarded, because your customers are going to end up having a miserable experience when you're not taking care of your reps and you're not giving them the proper break between calls. So I think it's important that you really look at your staffing and you plus up your staffing in any possible way, whether that's overtime, whether that's, bringing on some people that, maybe are part-time and you want to make them, give them full-time hours for those couple days. I think that, that stuff's important. Number 3 is have a motivation, right? Have something going on, whether it's for the week or just for the Black Friday itself or for Cyber Monday, right? Your reps are going to be doing a yeoman's work, right, on the front lines of just getting call after call after call. So make sure that you're going to make that enjoyable for them, whether that's lunches, whether that's, having coffee and donuts, whether that's having some monetary motivations for quality or for, the amount of calls, or, however you guys, do your KPIs in your call center. I think that that's important. Make sure that you're not being cheap, when it comes to taking care of the front line, when it comes to especially these couple days. Number 4 is something I've seen a lot, right? And it's make sure that you have the right amount of ports available, right? And so when we're in the cloud, we're kind of dealing with ports, right? And we're dealing with how many, and basically that means, how many calls are we quote unquote allowed to queue, right? So if you have your forecast and you kind of understand where you're going to be, and most of us are going to queue, to a certain extent, if you think you have excessive queues, make sure that you're looking at that. Make a mental note to say, hey, maybe for this month, we need to raise our ports up so that we can queue to a certain amount, and we're not going to just cut those calls off. Now, a lot of the cloud providers will allow you to do that on the fly, right? So maybe you say, hey, we're going to, can queue up to 200 calls, but anything over that, then we get an email. Well, I don't know. I would just do it, right? Again, it's such a busy day. It's such a chaotic day and a fun day, right? But there's so much going on that you want to just try to minimize all of the kind of quote unquote emergency stuff, right? The fires that can rise, just again, to save a couple pennies for a month when you're talking about really the entire customer experience, or the largest percentage of customers that you're going to talk to in probably a day. All right, number 5, and I know I said no IT programming, but make sure this is a pretty easy thing. If you have virtual callbacks, if you expect to queue, those should start to be put in place if you have not done that already. If you don't have them in place, for next year or something you should definitely look at for these types of days. Again, it's almost free. Most of the platforms, you just kind of program it. And it's very easy, basic programming. But I think the virtual callbacks are a really important tool to have, especially on these days, but you're going to queue to make that experience as good as we possibly can. Especially, for those, again, those abnormally large queue days. Number 6, make sure you're using today through Wednesday to train and educate your reps as much as you possibly can, right? Use this time. You don't want to get into the fire of a Black Friday and be like, oh my gosh, we forgot to talk about this when we knew it was going to be a big issue, right? So you should have, if there's anything that is, pending, or anything that could be, brought up by callers that you're not really strong on, or your reps might not be strong because maybe it's something that's relatively newer, right? Anything that you're not strong at will get shown when there's stress, right? It's kind of like a basketball game. Again, using a sports analogy, but in a playoff game, right? All of your weaknesses really show, right? Where if you're just playing, a normal team that you think you can beat, those things don't show up. But when you're playing against the best, right, your weaknesses really seem to show. And that's what happens on a Black Friday, right? Your weaknesses will show if you're not prepared. So use these next 3 days, right, to do as much as you possibly can to get your reps to feeling as comfortable, as confident, and give them the knowledge of anything that you think that callers could be calling on so that they're ready. All right. And then number 7 is, document the day. I think that this is something I've gotten better at as I've gotten older. But literally, like, I will come in on a Black Friday, or I'll come in on, days that we're going to do a new client rollout or a launch, those kind of days that are, kind of those asterisk days on the calendar, right? Something a little bit different and unique is happening that day. And I like to try to document it to learn what we're doing right and what we're doing wrong. So I think Black Friday is a huge day for that. So let's say you get in the office, let's say you get in there bright and early at like 6 or 6:30. Start to write down everything that's going on throughout your day. Make notes of what you've done really well and what you'd like to carry over to next year. Make notes of what you didn't do well and that you need to fix for next year. You're not going to remember a lot of this stuff, when it comes to next year if you don't write this stuff down. That's what I found out. Like, even the stuff that is a 911 fire that could have been fixed, you forget about, as 365 days roll and it's the next year. So having to take some time to document some of this, how your day went, I think can really make your future Black Fridays and future heavy call volume days a little bit less stressful and a little easier to get through. So guys, those are 7 tips that I have, 7 quick tips. I didn't want to make this very long. It's a busy week. 10 minutes, 11 minutes here. It looks like we got here on this podcast. So hopefully that helps you relieve some of the stress and at least get you thinking about some of the things that maybe I haven't even talked about, but get you thinking of the process of preparing for Black Friday, Cyber Monday. I hope you guys have an awesome, awesome week. Train those reps. Make sure your IT is in check. You're going to have a great Black Friday. You're going to have a great Cyber Monday. Might have a special treat podcast as well coming before Friday. I don't want to announce it yet. I may announce it tomorrow, but it's somebody I think that can really help. And it's one of the really large retailers in the United States I know he's been gearing up for weeks for Black Friday. And we're going to kind of dig into deeper with him. Hopefully I can get him on, this week to try to help you guys. So we'll see how that goes. But hopefully I make an announcement later today. But again, have a great one, guys. And if I do not talk to you, rock it out on Friday.